Trying to identify a piece of unmarked West German pottery can range from frustrating to downright annoying. Fortunately, there were some companies that had tendencies that will help you identify a piece even when there's no company mark. Keep in mind, these are tendencies, not absolutes, and unfortunately, they really only identify a relatively small portion of the West German items. But at least this may give you a little sense of power, keep you feeling quite so lost in the sea known as West German pottery. Good luck and enjoy.
This vase is marked Base-ics, but we would probably be able to guess that even if it didn't have the company name, because of one little quirk from whoever did the design on the molds. The lettering here is in all capitals, as is common with much of the West German pottery, but take a look at those Y's. Notice it's more like a small case formed with only two lines. This is typical of Bay marks. Here's another example of Bay on the right, a slight variation with the way the Y is formed, very much a lowercase y. On the left is a Schurig, and notice the Y at the end of that Germany. This is the typical Y you will find on the bottom of West German pottery, formed with three lines rather than the two that you see on the Bay. This vase is by Carstens, which I happen to know because of the shape. But if you weren't familiar with the shape, you could have a good guess at it just by looking at the bottom, even though I'll admit this is one of the trickier ones, one of the iffier ones. The first clue that this one is Carstens is the red clay. Then you'll notice that there is the embossed lettering and numbering. There's a West Germany plus the numbers, no company mark. Good chance that this is a Carstens example, as I happen to know this one is. Again, this is one that you can tell from the glaze if you happen to be familiar with the Jasba Cortina glaze. But every now and then, Jasba gave us an extra clue on the bottom, and this is one such example. If you look, you'll notice that there is a rectangle around the West Germany, or sometimes it'll just be W Germany. Jasba didn't do this very often, but they seem to be the only one who did. This pair of vases is from Otto Keramik, shapes probably designed by Kurt Schorner. This shows the typical flat white bottom on Otto Keramik, as you can see on the left. On the right, the typical felt covered bottom. While other companies did sometimes use felt, Otto is the only one that typically has this flat bottom, usually covered by felt. This glaze is one of my favorites from Roth, and both glaze and form confirm that this is a Roth piece, but you can also tell from the bottom if you know how. We have the red clay which Roth used, and there is an impressed 4-digit identification or shape number, no other markings, no country, zip. That suggests Roth. Silberdistel was one of the few companies that did this especially thick, all over volcanic glaze with fairly distinct craters. So you can guess even before you see the bottom. Then when you see this white bottom, although sometimes a little bit of tinting, but with incised numbers, no other markings. And in case you don't know it, incised means that they are hand cut into the clay, not impressed.